My name is Sister Catherine Kuper. I'm a Sister of Mercy. I'm a graduate of College of St. Mary. I'm retired. I started out here as a freshman in 1962. It's a long time ago. And I came here to the college. I was not a sister at the time. I came here to college for 2 years before I entered the Sisters of Mercy. So I lived in the dorm. I was here getting a degree in education, elementary education. I loved being here. I loved being here with the students that I found here, classes. I was challenged by it. I was very glad I made the choice for College of St. Mary. And then I joined the Sisters of Mercy, and I continued my education here in elementary education, and graduated in 1967. And certainly have seen a great deal of growth in the college, except that sticking with that fundamental commitment to educate women. And that, I think, is a gift, and the one that has certainly played itself out over time. There certainly has been great growth here, stability. The fact that the college is celebrating its 100th anniversary is remarkable. Given that it's a small college with a specific mission, has been a challenge, but one that obviously the sisters and the community here at CSM has responded to very well. So it's grown. It's grown in terms of its size, its building, its capacity, and the programming that it offers. I suppose, well, there's no question, that question or that urging had been with me for some time, even in high school. But I was not ready to make that decision. So I came here to the college, and I think one of the things that kind of made me think about that more was my college roommate from the first year joined the Sisters of Mercy. And so I thought, oh, the influence is pretty strong here. And I also think there was a clear desire on my part to be of service to others, and a clear desire on my part to explore what it meant to be a person who claims that God is important in my life. And the exploration of that has certainly been a wonderful experience for me. And with so many other fine women, that over the years has no question been one of the greatest assets for me, to have associated myself with such fine, strong women. That's been a real gift. I think its real strength is the education of women. And it isn't just the education of college courses, it's the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere that supports women who think, women who can progress, women who can make decisions, women who can be in supervisory leadership roles. That you can see that if you spend much time around here. That is a real asset of the college at this time. There's no question about that. And that is something I am extremely supportive of. You know, if I started at college here in 1962, there were only a very few choices for women. They were education, they were nursing, and maybe secretarial work or some sort. And now the opportunities are endless. And I am very, very much in support of that. When I started here at the college as a student, and prior to that, I was aware, and that has certainly been a claim, is that the Sisters of Mercy started this college. They started it for reasons of basically the education of the sisters. And then it expanded to the education of all women. But that's where it started. It's kind of developed over time and got bigger and bigger. But again, it's that issue of our foundress, Catherine Macaulay, saying that the education of women is very, very important. We continue to do that. We do that here in Omaha, not only here at College of St. Mary, but with a high school, Mercy High School. We are committed to that and have been for a very long time. I think there was a point at which where religious orders moved away from the ownership responsibilities of an institution. And we did that in the 60s or 70s. We didn't own the college anymore. And basically, we didn't have financial responsibility for the college. And the college was on its own, needed to do what it needed to do. And we were here, we were trying to be supportive and that sort of thing. And then I would say, again in the 1980s, maybe 80s, maybe 90s, the Sisters of Mercy took a renewed interest in the college and said, we want to be with you, we want to help with the influence, we believe in the mission, and we certainly want to be part of that mission. And so I don't know where that stands today, but we certainly are very desirous of being part of that mission. It just is such that we cannot be financially responsible for that mission. We are were very strong in healthcare, Bergen Mercy. And we used to say, if you got in your car and were driving across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast, and you had a medical emergency, you were probably within 100 miles of a Sister of Mercy healthcare facility. We were very, very strong in healthcare. No question about it. The Sisters of Mercy from Omaha at one point had 23 hospitals and like 12 nursing homes. Again, it came to the reality that we could not continue to do that. But there is no question about it. I think when you look at other religious communities in the United States, that is very clear. We're not just builders. We're supportive of a mission and a ministry that needs to happen. And if that needs to happen, and it needs this around it, buildings, etc., then that's what we will do. And I think that's a piece of what happened here. Actually, this building that we're in right now was constructed to be the novitiate for the Sisters of Mercy. We had at one point a couple hundred young women here who were novices and young professed sisters going to college here. And this is where they grew up learning what it meant to be a Sister of Mercy. So that was its primary reason, I suspect. I'm not positive about that, but I suspect that was. And then it grew into this, well, there's young women who need to become teachers. How can we do that? And eventually the development of the nursing program. That was a very big event that happened. So those things did happen. She, when you think late in life, at age 50, builds a building for a purpose. And the purpose was the care of young women coming to Dublin. And then when she began to send sisters to the United States, Frances Ward being one of the early ones, the first thing they would do is build a place. Not build a place, but take a place and turn it into something that was a ministry. When the sisters first came here to Omaha, they had a place down on the river, a house No furniture in the house. You probably heard the story already. No furniture in the house, but they were there for a mission. They were there primarily to start Catholic education for immigrant families. And they began to do that. And then they began to see all kinds of other things going on here in Omaha. And they developed health care, the first hospital down on the river, the old St. Joseph's Hospital. Then they went on to get involved in St. James Orphanage because there were kids who were needed parenting. And so that, and then the part of that, of course, was College of St. Mary. I was there in the emergency room a couple of years ago. I fell, twisted my ankle. I went into the emergency room and I said, "I'm Sister Catherine Kuper. I'm a Sister of Mercy." And I said to the nurse in the ER, "Do you know what that means?" She said, "No." I said, "We founded this hospital." She said, "Oh." You're right. It gets, I think the preservation of the history is important because of the story. The preservation of the history for its own sake, I'm not so sure. I think they would find a commitment, first and foremost, to education. That was strong with the sisters when they started here. I also think the belief in the capacity of women to be strong, to be themselves, to do whatever it is they want. When I started here as a student, my interest probably early on in life was to be a park ranger. I loved the environment. I'm a serious bird watcher. I've worked for various educational roles with places that do nature education. And I think that's what I wanted to do in my heart of hearts, but I couldn't do it. In 1962, you could not aspire to be a park ranger or a forest ranger or something like that. Just recently, I was over in the science building, and I was walking down the corridor there, and they have these banners hanging in the hallway. And they're banners both about the history here, the 100-year history. But I thought, there are young women today that can be forest rangers, that can be all those things, that can do environmental science work. And I just applaud them, and I'm just so grateful that the college has retained that interest in developing all these alternatives for women when it comes to they can do anything they want in any career, in any field. And that's a broad-minded vision. That's a vision that is encouraged by the Sisters of Mercy and lots of other women as well, women involved in the administration of this college. Well, that's my hot button. The natural world is very significant to me. It's significant for my own enjoyment, and it's significant because of the spirituality that I find there. I truly believe that the natural world is every bit as much revelatory about the mystery of God as is the sacred scripture and other things. And I have found that there, indeed. I think then what that leads to is my intense interest in helping other people learn about the natural world. These days, the issue of preserving the natural world and environmental issues is just so significant. But I really do believe that you will not be moved to change or to care for this world unless you love it. And so that has been my keen interest for several years, is helping people learn and appreciate the natural world. And actually I've done that through the Sisters of Mercy, for which I'm very grateful. I retired several years ago from working for Fontenelle Forest here in Omaha. It's a independent nature center, and what I did for them was programs for senior citizens. So I combined both a service to the elderly with an interest, and the interest here being the natural world. And so I started programs there. We would go to senior centers, nursing homes, assisted living, church groups, any place where seniors gathered. And I did that for 11 years, created a lot of programs. And by the time I retired, we were doing 6 and 7 programs a week, which said something about the need, the interest. So I did that. Although I said earlier, when I was 60, very young, I wanted to be a park ranger. I became a park ranger. That's probably one of the highlights of my life. I was a park ranger for the National Park Service in Anchorage, Alaska. I did that one summer as a volunteer. I had a good work ethic, so they had me come back for 2 more summers, paid me, and that was just a real delight. But there was a Mercy connection. We had 3 Sisters of Mercy living in Anchorage. They had gone up there in the 1960s when it had become an archdiocese, and they were there. So I stayed with them. They were very grateful to have me. I was very glad to connect with them. So I stayed with them, rode my bike back and forth to work every day, and absolutely loved that experience. Loved learning about the marvelous world that Alaska is, and then the opportunities to share that, to help other people. My job was to help other people enjoy their experience of Alaska. That was not difficult for me. So I've gone on, we had a facility out in the country here in Omaha called Knowles Mercy Center. I was involved in that for a number of years, trying to help that become a good environmental spot, which it became. And so I've been doing those kinds of things. Any Sister of Mercy here in Omaha will easily associate me with the natural world and the environment. That's the core of who I am. I think I would place the college in the hands of a loving God who sees the college as a gift to the world at this time. Gift to the world in terms of helping women and others learn about ways in which they can bring mercy and compassion to the world. The world is in need of God's compassion, of human compassion. We see it daily. We are frightened by it daily, the absence of it. And I hope that would be a bottom line here, that sure, one has to learn about science, one has to learn about education methodology, one has to learn about basics of law, etc., whatever it is. But first and foremost, one needs to know what it means to bring that mercy to the world. So I guess I would pray for that. I would ask that God and all the women who surround that image of God be forceful, be present here in ways that encourage and support women. I was a practicing therapist. I know there's lots of challenges for women. I know there's lots of pain borne by women. And I would just hope that the college would be in a position to help those women cross that bridge into something else. And It is only through compassion, through faith, through that understanding of a loving God, that's what God desires for us. And that could come about in this institution. My life has been a rich life, and it's one I'm very grateful for. It's kind of hard to think of going back and doing it differently, because I've liked the way it's all turned out. I think one thing that probably was really good for me was that this was not a big college when I came here, that it was small. There was a lot of interaction between students and between the sisters. I interacted with the sisters that I found here. There were a lot of them on faculty and staff then. That's probably had a big influence on my decision. They were good people. I liked them. Why wouldn't I want to be like them? And so that was a key piece of that. I don't know I think I would have made that choice one way or the other, but I don't know that I would do it differently. It's been too good. We have a very strong practicality bent. So we are Catherine Macaulay was. She needed to do, this needed to be done, so she knew how to do that, and she fostered that, and it grew. Same way with places here in this country. When the sisters came here, it was very practical. And I think there's a real element that survives here at the college. I have no doubt about that. The other is a real solid footing in terms of that commitment to compassion and that commitment to caring for one another. That's who we are. That's fundamental. That's bottom line. And I think that value of the Sisters of Mercy is to do indeed that, to care for each other, and that each other means everyone. And I think we're seeing that challenge these days, but I think it does. It means everyone. So I think both practicality and a consistent motivation toward being compassionate. It would seem to me that there probably are a variety of ways in which the college meets the needs of its students. And I would think there are a number of students coming right out of high school who come here for a college experience. And I believe they get that. I believe that happens here. I look at all of the athletic teams, and I think there must be a lot of community going on here between those athletic teams and being students in different areas. I walk through the college and I can see different places where I think students are congregating, and that sense of community is important. I also know that there's students who come here to college who are past that 4-year experience right out of high school, and who come here for a second degree, who come here for a master's degree, who come maybe online, who come on the weekend, or they're not that same group of that 4-year experience. But I think the college responds to them all in terms of what they need and a sense of being part of something bigger than themselves. I hope you find a group of women who you can identify with, who you can be yourself with, who encourage you, who challenge you, who support you, who you can have fun with, who are delightful, and who you can connect with on important issues to you, that are there for you when you need them, and that bring real meaning into your life. There's lots of things going on in the world these days, lots of things. Some of them bring meaning to us, and some of them are just there. What are the things that bring meaning? What are the things that last a long time? And so I would hope that you find some of that here, that you find enough of it here that is like a springboard into the rest of your life. That those are the things you can count on. Those are the things maybe you can be helpful in replicating for others that you encounter, for other women, we keep talking here about other women, and I certainly say that a lot. I'm hoping the day will come when we don't have to say that. I'm hoping the day will come when we don't have to be continually working toward some kind of space in this world for women, and that the space will be equal. The space will be there, and we don't have to question that. I entered the Sisters of Mercy in 1962, and the changes began to happen in the church in 1965. The changes occurred in the church and subsequently in the Sisters of Mercy. I'm very proud of the history of that in the Sisters of Mercy. I'm very proud that we had the leadership of women at that time who said, we need to open our hearts and minds to what the church is telling us, what society is asking of us, and we need to be responsive to that. And we did that. Some of it was very difficult to do. You can imagine there was a big change, and a change that was not readily accepted by everyone. But we persisted in that, in faith or in goodwill. And we made that transition. But that was very clear. The belief in education, we sent some of our sisters. We are very well-educated women. There is no question about that. And we are very grateful for that because of the service that it has done. But it has also made us leaders, and the community itself, the Sisters of Mercy, has been very encouraging of us taking those positions as long as they are grounded in what it is we believe and what it is we hope for. And we'll stand behind us on that, and we all know that. And that is that supportive community. When I said something earlier about the greatest gift to me in the Sisters of Mercy has been the women, and the women that I have been associated, that I call friends at this time in my life and earlier in my life. That is just an incredible gift to me. We've gone through an awful lot of change in recent years, probably certainly within the last 50 years. We were organized here in Omaha. We were a province of Omaha, and we were part of 25 other units of Sisters of Mercy in the United States. We're a very large group in terms of numbers. And we were, the Omaha province extended from here to the West Coast. So we had hospitals, we had schools, we had places in all those places. And so the center of that was here in Omaha. We had a president here, we called it a provincial because it was a province. And then we were associated with a larger group in Maryland. And we have gone through those. Because of a diminishment of our numbers, we have had to reorganize that. And so we've reorganized it by merging with some other groups. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, we dropped all of those boundaries. And now we are all part of one unit with a main office. Notice I'm not using hierarchical language. With a main office in Silver Spring, Maryland. And so we have a group of 5 women there who are responsible for leading the Sisters of Mercy. We have some local accountability here, but it's not at all like it used to be. But there are fewer of us here too, as well, so it doesn't need to be as highly structured. We don't sponsor as many ministries as we used to, just simply because we don't have the sisters to do that. I don't know that I have parting wisdom. I am very appreciative of the fact that the college wants to do this, that they want to continue to encourage, support, communicate the mission of the Sisters of Mercy when it comes to this college, because it's worthy, because it's worthwhile. And I have every confidence that this will continue because of the goodness of people, because a mission gets carried on, and I think it will. I have no doubt about it. And it's a wonder. It's surprising to me sometimes how often I'll be somewhere here in Omaha and say, you know, I went to College of St. Mary, I used to work there. They say, oh, I graduated from there. You know, that's a wonderful thing. There's something about that has meaning for people. So I have every confidence that will continue. We've left a legacy. It's a living legacy. It isn't something that's got some dust on it. It will continue, and I'm quite confident about that. One of the reasons, I don't know that this will answer your question. One of the reasons that we're doing this is because there are not a lot of us functioning in this college at this time. So the interest is in preserving that legacy. But I think one of the things that the Sisters of Mercy have done well, and I think most women religious have done well, is we have educated other women to the values that we hold that are so important, and everybody knows it. They're those basic ones of compassion, of caring, of leadership, that we have done a good job of that. And that mission is now in the hearts and minds of lots of women, some of them sitting right over there. And they're going to continue this mission because this place gives them an opportunity to do that. So I have every confidence that this will continue. This is probably an aside, but sometimes people say to us, there aren't very many of you anymore. And I say, that's true. And they feel bad about that. I'm not so sure I feel bad about that because we have done a good job. We have educated the church to what their responsibility is. And they will do it. They will take up, they will do what needs to be done.